And in front of me now, Franz Ferdinand, that's fab. So fab.
You're right.
Welcome, folks. God, it's a long time since I've seen you, Alex.
Yeah.
What have you been doing the last 4 years?
Oh, well, I don't know. We released a record, toured for quite a bit, then wrote another one. And now we're here again.
Indeed. Now, tonight, Franz Ferdinand was the last one, and there has been a gap. What's happened in that gap in terms of, was it a question of sitting down and saying, taking stock, taking a look, where do we fit in the firmament of rock and roll as we speak, or what was it?
What do you think, Bob?
There's a bit of that. We had a break first. We kind of sort of didn't see each other for 12 months, and then we did a bit of that.
Yeah. 'Cause it's nice to sit back and think, why are we in a band? And I think it all comes down to like wanting to hang out with your pals and make music together. And once you get that simple stuff right, the rest of it makes sense.
But does there come a point when you're on the road so long, especially between album 1 and 2, that you really need that break from your pals, with all due respect?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's the same as living in close quarters with anybody. Like, it's the same as sharing a flat with your best pal or living with your wife or your girlfriend or something like that. Occasionally a break does a lot of good.
Well, then the approach to this album number 4, was there a different way of working? I mean, I know there was a kind of a group hug in the Orkneys and all this kind of thing. And like, what happens then after that? I mean, is it that you have the songs written, you do it different ways, you send bits down the line? Like, I know Nick lives in London, the rest of you Scotland?
Yeah, that's right. But he comes up quite a lot. I mean, it's like 2 hours on the train or whatever, so it's pretty easy. We did take a different approach this time. And we went to the studio for really short periods of time. Like it would be a week at the most, a week and a half.
Yeah.
And so we'd only do 2 or 3 songs at a time. So when you go in, you feel fresh and you feel excited about doing that thing. Then you go away, work on some more songs, and come back again. And in fact, making this LP was almost like making a compilation of a set of EPs that had been worked on sort of for a period of time, rather than sort of like, those really long sessions that bands do in the studio. I think it's never healthy.
And was there a difference in terms of like, the way like, Spielberg will storyboard his movie before he even takes a shot and that? Did you get the order of things? Like, what am I going to do next? This has to be done this way, this has to be done that way, differently than before, which might have been, with all due respect, which is the way rock and roll should be, haphazard in the past.
No, I wouldn't say it's storyboarded, we didn't plan out an LP like that. A lot of work goes into a song and into the arrangement and that sort of thing, and you work out different ideas. But no, I think that sort of stuff, like recording, it has to be instinctive. It has to be quite sort of, of the moment, and particularly that short time you are in the studio has to be very spontaneous. Otherwise, it gets too overthought.
But would there have been a situation of trying to think of like where you fit in the firmament of the whole thing now? When you start off and everything is really great, and 10 years ago was all this whole thing, and darts of pleasure and blah blah and everything all over the place, etc. And then now that there's another bunch of new bands doing their thing, and you're now in the second or third tier of it all. And does it sort of call for a different approach?
I don't really think that's in our heads when we're writing. When we first appeared, we didn't pay any attention to what was going on around us particularly, and kind of same.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, we did the opposite. We totally removed ourselves from the public eye. Didn't do any interviews, didn't talk to anybody about how we were making the record. And like Bob said, didn't really pay any attention to what was going on around about us. Because if you start thinking about what's going on around about you too much, you end up following other people, like trying to follow trends and that sort of thing. And that ends up, you just end up with second-hand ideas that way.
Okay, but you're a band who've gone through the last 10 years of the whole change in the industry, the way things are done, studios closing down here, record companies closing down, record shops closing down, and all the rest, and what it all means. Now, one of the things is technology. You embrace it, fine, but do you find that you could get too dependent on it and you have to hold that back too? Because you're basically meant to be 4 guys doing it. Yeah,
and I think at the heart of every song on this record, there's a live performance. It's the sound of 4 of us playing in a room together. But I mean, I don't think technology has much impact on that. And certainly the way that people sort of get their music's changed a lot over the last few years, but I don't think the instincts of humans have changed at all. Either the instincts of the humans that make music and the instincts of human beings want to listen to music, it's exactly the same. It doesn't matter whether it comes via an MP3 or a gramophone,
Okay, but, I mean, was there any question at all that the band burnt out ever so slightly and you really needed to just, take that break, any break?
I think at the end of touring the last record,
which is Tonight, Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah, Tonight, Franz Ferdinand. Yeah, we were pretty tired, and I think we needed to take a break, not because we were so tired physically, like to have a break of a week and you're not knackered anymore. But I think creatively, you have to be able to draw on some real life and build up some experience again and draw on that, so you've got some depth in what you're writing about.
But is there pressure, therefore, to stay on the road, stay bringing out music, stay all the rest? And were you able to get rid of that pressure by, if you like, dropping a major record company and taking a company that now makes you say, do what you want to do, Franz Ferdinand?
Well, for us, over on this side of the Atlantic, we've always been with Domino, and that's been great. You know, they've always been really cool, always, given us freedom to do whatever we wanted to do. Yeah, I don't know, Bob. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I didn't. I mean, independent music, really.
That's a good enough answer, right? But like when you say that, Domino in this part of the world in terms of independent, over in America, there were certain things, like there was always pressure from the record company. One of the things was that when the record company get into trouble and your name might have been mentioned, and you go, what the hell was this?
Yeah. There was, I mean, major labels, they're a totally different beast from the independent label. Like, I remember our label in America, they used one of our tunes on a McDonald's advert online, and they didn't ask permission for the band. And you know, that sort of stuff would never happen with Domino. I know what you were talking about earlier. You're saying like whether there's pressure on you to tour insistently or too long.
Just think of Led Zeppelin. I spoke to Robert Plant last night, or just think of the Smiths or whatever, and the way they were able to do it, and just do little bursts.
Yeah, you see, I think that's something that's changed more because of the way that people consume music nowadays. Like, there's a climate where people, for one reason or another, don't expect to pay for music. Yeah. And so if a band, no matter what level they're on, if they're expecting to pay their rent with their music, they've got to go on tour rather than selling records.
Yeah, it's also the technology and the internet and Twitter, etc. It increases the demand for you. So, you know, we're directly in touch with fans all over the world who are saying, you know, come on, play in our country, come play here, come play there. And so we do. And it's kind of like, you don't. That wouldn't have happened, say, in the 80s when the Smiths were going. I'm sure that, they weren't getting tweets from, like...
Sure, exactly. No, they certainly weren't. But I mean, like, by the same token, a band like Franz Ferdinand, I mean, you want to make music, you are musicians, but today you're supposed to go out and play loads of live and keep playing loads of live. I get the impression you guys would rather, hold on a second now, I just don't want to be slave to that. I want to be doing more in the studio because I want to be making music rather than... I mean, love playing live, but...
I definitely feel like that at the moment. I feel like it's getting worse. So I want to look around and see what's happening with my contemporaries. They're always on the road, and I don't want to be doing that. I want to be writing songs. Of course, I love playing live. I'm really looking forward to today, and it's going to be amazing. You can't beat that buzz. But at the same time, you've got to balance that out. It's actually making it in the first place.
Yeah, sure. But like let's say the year 2007 with the Hallam Foe movie. There you were with 4 US tours with the Marion Cotillard, some ad or something. Do you ever say, wait a minute, is this us doing this, or are we being told to do this?
No, that's not. I mean, with that, it's us making those decisions, and I think a lot of that comes through opportunity. You know, you get these opportunities to do things that's incredible. Yeah, you know, like a great film director comes along and says, "Do you want to write some music from a film?" You don't sit and kind of go, "Nah, no thanks." Especially when, like, not so much with Bob, but the other three of us, we were all in bands before, and we would be lucky if we could get like a gig in Edinburgh once every 3 months or something like that, or maybe once go down to Sheffield. You know, it was incredible for us to have all these opportunities. So yeah, we definitely rose to do them.
Okay, well then let's take a look. Number 4 is Right Thoughts, Right Words, Right Action. It's a short album. Was that something you definitely wanted to make sure you'd like? I mean, like, as in, like, sometimes now you get 60 minutes. The old Neil Young's might be 40. Yours is about 35, 36.
Yeah.
That was something you wanted to do.
I like things that are succinct and concise. I think it's a minute and a half shorter than our first record, and that seemed to be a pretty good length. You know, I think it's something that happened with the advent of the CD, 20 years ago, or whatever. We've got 75 minutes here.
Let's fill them.
We've got to fill them. I'm not sure if that's the right idea.
It's
you know,
too much.
you know. And it's to say, I'm still a fan of the single as well, and the idea of a song sort of not going on, not banging on for too long. It's different for different forms of music. Like if you go to a club, you want a song to build over 7 minutes or whatever. And although we make dance music, you know, I think we make it more in the kind of pop confines than
as in danceable post-punk and heavy on the mid-tempo disco thump, eh?
Right. Who said that? Right.
I just did.
Right.
Okay, well, let's take a look then. I mean, like, the first album, remember, did sell over 1 million copies in the States. That's pressure on any band. Let's go over there and stay on the road forever.
I don't know. See, I don't see that as pressure. And I don't see the States in any different way either. I've always just seen the States as just like going to any other country, you know, and also when you go to the States, every separate state is like a different country as well.
Yeah.
You know, like there's so many different.
But there is a routine
there.
and there are obligations, and sometimes your life has been taken out of your hands by record company or pressure or demands.
I think it depends on your attitude. Like, a lot of bands from our side of the Atlantic think we've got to go over there, and we've got and the phrase is always conquer America. You know, like if American bands came over here to conquer us, we'd be pretty, hacked off about it. And like, I think it's a bad attitude to go with. I always just saw it as going over to play a gig to some folk that want to come down to it. No conquering involved.
Yeah, it's always conquer America, and it's always big in Japan, isn't it? Okay, actually, extracurricular activity stuff. You wrote a food column for The Guardian, Alex.
Aye.
And became a book.
Aye, that's right. Aye, yeah. I don't anymore though.
Are you a food expert? Are you?
I wasn't, not at all. Not at all. I mean, when I was writing that, it was more to write about where I was. It was like a diary, And I picked a thing that I did every day, and it's good to pick one constant. If you're going to write about where you are, if you pick one constant, one thing that you're doing everywhere, then you see how that changes in the different places where you find yourself.
Sure, but okay, let's get back to then the playing thing, because the playing is very important, playing live is, but the creative process is more important to Franz Ferdinand.
I'd say they're equally important, but you can't let one outweigh the other.
Right. And do you still do Donna Summer? Will you be doing Donna Summer on stage?
Do I do a bit of Donna Summer tonight?
Yeah, all right.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, why not? Okay, the album itself then, finally, the Right Thoughts, Right Words, Right Action album. Producer-wise, it was done in piecemeal, was it? Like, you had a hot chip person, you had Bjorn from the three guys.
I think that kind of reflects how we approach the record. Like I was saying, we'd only go in for a short burst and work on 2 or 3 songs at a time. And so sometimes we'd go in and we'd produce ourselves, and other times we'd sort of work with other people that we fancied. What we didn't want to do is go in with one of those kind of career producers. I think they're often needed by a band if you're not really sure of the direction you want to go in yourself.
Yeah.
And we had a pretty good idea of what we wanted to do with the music, but we wanted to collaborate with other people. Also, for me as a producer, there were all these guys around who were doing things that I liked the sound of, and I wanted to see how they worked.
Could I finally say that at the end of the album, there might be a hint towards album number 5, that's slightly different, Franz Ferdinand, how should I put this, more nuanced tracks?
Oh, right, yeah, I think this record's definitely got 2 sides to it.
Yeah.
The first side is like a really high energy side, and then track 1 on side 2, which is Bullet, the 6th song, it kind of makes you think you're going in that direction, and then it goes into an emotionally different direction, takes it down a little bit, and you see, the thing is, I'd say there's as much emotional nuance in the first side, but because there's more of a driving beat and and they're heavier songs, that can sometimes distract you from the nuance. And so there's as much nuance in a song like Stand on the Horizon or Fresh Strawberries as there is in The Universe Expanded, but if you listen to it, sometimes just all you hear is the beat.
All right, well, listen, congratulations, guys, on the 4th album. Enjoy yourself. By the way, do you know which stage you're playing on and at what time?
I presume it's that one there.
Yeah, it is that one over there.
Yeah.
That's the main stage,
8 o'clock, I think.
Nobody ever knows.
I thought it was 8:45.
You're supposed to take a piece of paper out of your back pocket and look at it, because nobody ever knows.
Yeah, somewhere between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock.
All right, it's 20 past, or just after 20 past 5 now. Dublin just beat Kerry, by the way, in the semi-final.
Oh, congratulations.
And Liverpool won 1-0 against Manchester United. Okay, well, listen, thank you very much, guys, for dropping in. Appreciate it. Enjoy the gig later on.